For all the latest updates, subscribe to News 9.
The Black Lives Matter movement has really caught the attention of people around the world. Anti-racism protests have been happening not only in the US but around the world. These protests have been happening right from the time African-American George Floyd was killed while in police custody. People have been protesting on the latest racial attacks against minorities in the US. Thousands of people gathered on the streets in central London as part of the Black Lives Matter protest. Anti-racism demonstrators gathered in cities including London, Manchester, Edinburgh, and Glasgow.
There's like a chant everyone says, which is no justice, no peace. And essentially, until there is justice, I will still keep fighting, because there just needs to be a lot of reform within the UK, within the US, within the world to do with racial equality. And until we achieve that, nothing else is really as important, because it's going to affect me for the rest of my life, obviously.
Union is the most important thing with things like this. So I'm trying to support that coming together. But I think the movement is so important.
The police officer in Minneapolis has been arrested, he'll be put on trial, and that's absolutely right. But the same thing has happened to white people in America as well. So the kind of narrative that there's systemic racism in the US and in the UK is wrong.
Thousands of people gathered in Hyde Park, sitting on the grass and listening to speakers. A smaller group marched from South London near the US Embassy. Hundreds of people in Paris protested against racism and police violence and in memory of minorities who died following encounters with French police or under suspicious circumstances. The protests were also to ensure that slavery comes to an end irrespective of people's race, color, or religion. Many protesters congregated at a famous location in Paris, France.
De l'issue de notre dossier à la CEDH, parce qu'un aveu de culpabilité, il n'y a pas mieux dans une affaire criminelle. On ne peut pas obtenir mieux que l'aveu du coupable. Donc le fait que la France accepte de verser les indemnités à la famille, c'est un aveu de culpabilité, de responsabilité.
George Floyd a eu un impact considérable sur la mobilisation, mais en même temps elle révèle l'ampleur du racisme systémique mondial et à quel point l'Occident donne le rythme et donne le holà. C'est-à-dire qu'on comprend qu'il a fallu voir un noir mourir comme un animal dans un abattoir pour que l'ensemble de la population, qu'elle soit blanche ou non blanche, prenne conscience de l'horreur qui est...
Some of the protesters carried placards and raised slogans. A separate demonstration in support of undocumented workers that drew hundreds of protesters also joined the anti-racism march. The protest comes in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, the African-American man, and many more minorities who lost their lives due to police brutality and racial killings. These attacks and killings have galvanized protesters around the globe to rally against racism and police brutality. With so much of unrest, the world is only hoping that the Black Lives Matter movement raises awareness of racial killings and police brutality.